Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Now in this video we are going to be doing another unboxing. It's been a while. By a while I mean 2 weeks. Last Tuesday we didn't have an unboxing. That was the first Tuesday in like 3 months where we haven't had an unboxing. But I'm happy to present another unboxing to you this Tuesday. I know December's been a bit of a botch month. We've been doing a lot of infinite flight videos, which I know is quite different to what I usually upload. They're not the most successful videos on my channel, and I understand that not all of you probably want to see that type of video, but I should have one more coming out this Friday, and then after that we'll be back to the regularly scheduled unboxings and airport updates and various other videos like that. So just hang in there for one more week and then we'll be back to normal. This unboxing is one that has some older models in, and these are models that I've just wanted for a very long time but haven't really gotten around to getting them yet. There are a few in here. I don't know for sure how many are in this box. There's either 2 or 3. I did order 3 from the same person, however I ordered one of those 3 I think a couple days after I ordered 2 of them, so there might be 2, there might be 3 in here, I'm not exactly sure. But without further ado, I guess there's not much more to say, so with that I'm going to go ahead and open this box. Okay, so we've opened the box. I think there are 2 models in this, there's not 3. We'll have to wait for the 3rd one in another unboxing. We've got newspaper, which is packing these 2 models, very tightly packed, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. I know Waffle Collectibles is especially renowned for having their boxes so packed that the models sometimes come broken. But you can see inside the box here we do have the 2 models. You can see they are both Gemini Jets models. These are kind of on the relatively rare side of things. I wouldn't call them rare, but I would say they're hard to find. The description of rare isn't really set in stone, so they are wrapped in this bubble wrap here, so I'm going to take this off and then unbox them. Okay, and after taking the bubble wrap off, we can see what these models actually are. So the first one, this one's probably going to surprise quite a few of you. I don't think a lot of you would have expected me to buy this, but we have the British Airways 787-8. Now I know what you're thinking, I do already have a British Airways 787-8, but I'm not exactly happy with this one. I know I've been collecting a ton of British Airways models over the past few months, and I typically don't, and you're probably going to laugh at this, I typically don't collect more than one type of British Airways model. There are a few exceptions to that, however. The A350, the only reason I have more than one of them is because I'm kind of hunting for that perfect model. I have the Phoenix one, which is horrible. I have the old Gemini Jets one, which is horrible, and I do have the new Gemini Jets one on the way. I feel like the new Gemini Jets one is going to be the one that I like. The old Gemini Jets one isn't that bad, but it is missing some markings. Then the 787-10, the only reason why I have 2 of them is Red River Aviation actually sent me a second one and it was broken, so he just sent it to me with the mission of putting it back together. I did that and it's now in my collection, so I have 2 of them. And then the 757s, I just got more than one of them because they are in different liveries. But the reason why I got more than one 787-8 is because I don't like this model. This right here is the box of the old one, and as you can see this is a much older Gemini Jets model, and unlike a lot of models, this older model is actually worse than the newer one. This one was released in 2008 when British Airways didn't actually have the 787-8, and so some of the markings are incorrect. But the main thing that I hate about this model is the tail right here. As you can see, it's not the standard British Airways tail, it's quite warped, and of course British Airways didn't have the 787, so when Gemini Jets made this model they couldn't look at the exact dimensions of the tail livery. And for years I've looked at many other models that have the correct tail, one in particular, AS Aviation. I love his 787-8 model, which is this one by the way, and I really wanted a correct proportion tail on the 787-8, so I bought this one. It was pretty cheap, I think it was in the £20, I think it was like £28, which is super cheap for any model. But this one, as you can see, it was released in 2015, as you can see, so British Airways did have the 787-8 update by then, and Gemini JS had a little bit more info about kind of how to design the 787 livery. And putting a pause on that real quick, I do want to give a little bit of a Chinook update. I've just had this one right here start up. He's got his beacon lights on and everything. Sometimes they just sit there for ages like that with the props whirring and the beacon lights on and everything, and the strobes on and everything. So I don't know if he's actually going to take off or he's just going to sit there for another 10 minutes.
11 minutes later.
For those of you wondering how I pretty much always manage to get a Chinook takeoff in most of my unboxings, I don't kind of plan this at all, just kind of every half an hour one either takes off or lands out of here. So yeah, I'm going to record this now and then I'm going to get back onto the unboxing. Okay, and with that done, I don't know what that Chinook was doing. He just kind of like took off, kind of hovered for a bit and then landed again. I thought he was going to like fully depart. I don't know how these kind of like military operations work. I've always wondered if I should get closer to that base, because I know you can get pretty close and there's a pretty good spot where you could like set up a camera. But the trouble is, I don't know when they take off. There's no like publicly announced schedules, and that's the thing with like, I just don't understand with these military spotters. I was talking to a military spotter about potentially going up to Fairford to catch some B-52s. They were actually stationed at Fairford and they were going to do some takeoffs and all of that. And there's such a difference between military spotting and commercial spotting, because with spotting, you know, things like this, like 787s and, you know, passenger aircraft, you can just take one look at Flight Radar 24, take a look at the schedules, go up to Heathrow or whatever when they're going to come in and just record them. But with military stuff, you just don't know. And I was asking this guy and he said there's no real way to know. There's either intel that you can get, or you can just go on a hunch, you know, go up to Brize Norton or Fairford and just hope there's something there. And it's the same thing with these Chinooks. Like some days there are like 20 departures in a day, and some days there just aren't any Chinook flights. So I don't know, but with that, I'm gonna get back to this unboxing. Now, British Airways 787, let's go back to this. I think I've said all I need to say, so I think now I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it. This box is the kind of like medium style of box. Of course, we have the old style, which is this style, the white logo, the very small kind of clip art, various things like that. This one is the medium one, so we've got kind of like the new rendition with the colors and everything, but the newer boxes have the back a little bit neater and everything, and it's just a little bit polished and everything. But without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this. Taking the model out of the box now, we've got the classic toilet paper in there. This is an extremely tightly packed box. There we go, we can take the top cradle piece off and we can take the toilet paper off as well, and there we have the model inside the box. We have the plastic sheet that we can take off here. Now this one has antennas and everything, and this one looks perfect. Okay, and here we have the model, and man, this is drastically different to the one that was released in 2008. I'm gonna go through both of these and kind of show you the differences. This one is so much different. Okay, so there's a few things you can probably note about this model. The first one being the wings. You can see that this one has the grey on top of the wing, this one has the white. The other thing is, of course, this is an updated mold. We have antennas and little features like that. This one's a lot more detailed, especially on the wings as well. We have the walking areas on the wings. I don't know if you can see that, highlighted with that line and the kind of like walk here marks. On this one we don't have that. It's just literally, we have the flap markings but nothing else on the wings. The nose is shaped a little bit differently. I don't think either of these are necessarily bad or anything. These are both pretty good. When it comes down to the nose, I would take either of these. One thing, of course, that is different is this one does have the little crown emblem. If you look before the B, that's the crown emblem. The crown emblem was integrated into the Chatham Dockyard livery in around 2010. So that would actually make sense that this one doesn't have the crown emblem, because this was released in 2008. I believe there are no 787s that haven't had the crown emblem, because of course I can't remember exactly when British Airways got the 787. I want to say around 2013, maybe 2012, I'm not really sure. But because they were introduced into the British Airways fleet after 2010, all the 787s actually came with the crown emblem installed into the livery. And then next here you can see, oh man, this is probably the best bit and the reason why I bought this model. You can see that the tail on this one is just so much better. This is what the livery should look like, not this. When you look at these together, you can just see how awful this is. This is like a B-Tech version of British Airways. This is honestly a really good model. British Airways currently have 42 787s. They have 12 787-8s, which is this variant. They then have 18 of the 787-9s. That's the aircraft they have the most of out of the 787 family. And then they currently have 4 787-10s, but they do have another 8 on order. I've never actually flown on a British Airways 787. It's actually one of the only wide-body aircraft, actually one of the only British Airways aircraft full stop that I haven't flown on. These do operate flights all around the world, and they are kind of a bit like the 777 in that they pretty much go everywhere. When you look at aircraft like the A380, the A350, they only go to select parts of the world, but the 787 pretty much goes everywhere. I know these have very rarely, but they have operated inside Europe. These have flown the London to Moscow route before. They fly to North America, South America, Africa, Asia, and I know they are actually putting the 787, not the -8 though, I believe it's the -9. They're actually putting the -9 on the Sydney route. Of course, I believe it stops in Singapore on the way and then heads down to Sydney and then back up to London. So these are very diverse aircraft. Of course, these have flown to Washington Dulles. All the 787s, apart from the -10, have been serviced on the Dulles route. And then, of course, primarily the Baltimore route as well. Baltimore has been operated on 222s, but mainly the 787-8 and then occasionally the -9. But yeah, I'm really happy with this model, and now I'm going to move on to the second one. And our second model today is this, the Delta Connection Embraer E170. Now, Delta don't have a ton of these. Currently, these are only operating for Republic, also known as Brickyard. They currently have 21 of these aircraft, which pales in comparison to the E175, of which they have a total of 113 with another 4 on order. So of course this one is used a lot less, but honestly at this point I just wanted some more Delta Connection aircraft to use in updates. At the moment I only have the CLJ 200. I would love to get CLJ 700, but of course the mold that is currently available is a very bad one. And then the CLJ 900, I'm not even going to get into that. The amount of money that has been going for on eBay is stupid. I don't know why anybody would spend more than $200 on a 1-400 aircraft. It seems dumb to me, especially considering Gemini Jets could release one at any point. But for now, at least until Gemini Jets do release something like the CLJ 900, I could use maybe this or the CLJ 200 in its place. This model in particular was released in 2016, so very similar to the 787 that we just unboxed. These aren't really the old Gemini Jets, these are just the kind of like, this is just before Gemini Jets had their kind of like downfall of horrid molds. 2016 was kind of like the last kind of year of the good Gemini Jets. But I do have to admit, I mean 2020 they have made some vast improvements. What's going to be very interesting to see is the Spirit A320neo. Of course the Gemini Jets A320neo that we knew was horrid. I believe the Spirit's going to be the same mold, but we can always cross our fingers and hope that it's going to be somewhat different and maybe the engines aren't going to be as big. But with that being said, let's go ahead and unbox this model. We've got the toilet paper in there as usual, but taking the model out of the cradle here, if I can lift this top off, we can take the toilet paper off and the plastic, and here we have the model. Okay, and here we have the model. Now, as I said, Delta, I am drastically trying to increase and improve my Delta collection. Of course, I unboxed a couple weeks ago the Delta A319, and then I do have another 2 after this. I do have another 2 Delta aircraft on the way. I'm just trying to increase my Delta fleet so I can kind of accommodate for all of those Delta flights out of the DC area. But taking a look at this model now, I'm going to see how close I can actually get to this model without my camera going out of focus. And there we go. As I said, Delta does currently have 21 of these aircraft in their fleet. You can see we have the E170 here. I do have a few E170s from United, and I did actually have a very long time ago a US Airways Express E170, but I believe I sold that or something a while ago. But here we have the E170, we have the cockpit windows here. This should say Republic down there, Republic Airways. We have the L1 door here with the SkyTeam logo. The forward landing gear, which is non-rollable of course, but I don't expect anything else from such a tiny model. I'm just glad they haven't kind of made the wheel that kind of like large kind of size. Moving back, of course, we've got the Delta titles up here, the connection titles underneath that. We've got the very few windows along here, and then we have the registration back here, which is November 867 Romeo Whiskey, and then we have the rear door as well as the wing there with the very tiny E170 engines and the winglets. Taking a look at the underside of the model here, we have the let me see, we do indeed have the stand hole there with some antennas and the Gemini Jets logo as well as the main landing gear. And then at the rear of the aircraft we have the tail. Probably one of the quickest aircraft I've ever gone through there, but honestly it's a very tiny model, and it's a very nice model though, I have to admit. As I said, it's a very nice model. I'm really hoping that Gemini Jets can pay more attention to the Connection, Eagle and Express aircraft. So of course I would love to see some more CRJ 700s, CRJ 900, and of course the ERJ 145. I would do anything to see that new livery, United Express ERJ 145 with the winglets and in the new livery. Oh man, that plane looks insane. But apart from that, that does conclude this unboxing. But yeah, that does conclude this unboxing of these two aircraft. As I say, I do have another one from this exact person I bought this off on the way. It's actually a Phoenix model, so I'm very excited for that. And of course I have a ton of Gemini Jets new releases, NG new releases all on the way. So I hope you stay excited for that. I should hopefully, if they do arrive within the next week, have them out next Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday we will at least have probably another unboxing every Tuesday for at least the next month, and then I'll have to see after that, because of course as this whole coronavirus type thing does kind of come to an end, I am going to have to devote more of my money to traveling and various other things like that. So of course I'm not going to be able to spend the same amount of money as I have in 2020, in 2021 on models. That doesn't necessarily mean less videos, it just means less unboxings and maybe some more trip reports in the future. Of course, I'm hoping that's the case. But apart from that, I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.